pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You want me to just go ahead?
Yes, introduce everyone.
All right, so we have Bob and Mike and Rich and Jessica and John are virtual. And I'm Kristen, and we also have Jennifer Sullivan, Deb, and User 1 is on Zoom. User 1, if you decide to speak tonight, you'll just have to introduce yourself. And we have Julie and Nancy and Frank here.
Excellent. So we have one addition of a pre-requested.
Yeah, so Tammy Lewis requested, but I'm not, unless Tammy maybe is user 1. So if that's the case, then that's great, but otherwise we'll have to see. But Tammy Lewis did request.
And approve, we can go with approval of the.
I'll move to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
Bob, a second. All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica? Jessica?
Yes.
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
All in favor? Pass. Carried. Okay, so we don't know if Tammy Lewis is user 1 or not.
Tammy, are you here?
Guess not.
You're muted if you are.
Okay. Well, I know Tammy Lewis was the one that filed a complaint about the street light, right?
Yes.
Nancy, can you enlighten us? How did we determine what? Dig back in your memory bank. How coincidental that you're here. I'm like, oh, perfect. The Green Mountain Power did the survey, right? And they determined which ones we needed and which ones we didn't really need?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they did it along with Efficiency Vermont, and there was a protocol.
Right.
To say this is what we use to determine where streetlights are used.
Right.
But which streetlight is the question?
That one there is like one of the ones as you're going past where the town garage is and headed into West Pawlet Village.
Okay.
It's like the second or third house, and it's actually the first house where it starts all being close together.
And there's one there?
No, there wasn't one there.
Did there used to be one there?
Maybe before
Possibly.
we upgraded it.
Okay. So.
Right.
Well,
So,
we just.
It
she thought it was
derived,
out.
we got a complaint that there was a street light, I guess that there was a street light out, so I drove all over West Pawlet 3 different times and couldn't find a street light out, and Mike also did, and I guess I think what she's trying to say is she wants a street light out in front of her house, and there isn't one. That's what we believe, we just need to hear from her, and
I just wanted to refresh my memory of there was a whole system in place, and it wasn't really actually done by us. We had some input on it, but
Right.
but they reviewed the whole town and said this is where the most effective places for street lights and stuff like that.
Right,
So
because there was also a situation on this side of town too, where there was one outside of a person's house and they wanted it to stay there, and I think it was Green Mountain Power said, then that's really a security light, so to speak, and that's up for you to pay, you know,
Right.
it's not up for the town to provide that for you. So, that's.
okay, well
I remember, there was a whole protocol.
right, that's
And I could try to pull it out.
no. I was just curious to make sure that I was remembering correctly. So
You're remembering correctly.
okay, thank you very much, Nancy. Announcements.
None other than that there's a tax sale tomorrow at noon here at the town hall.
Okay. And you're gonna be able to make it? Okay, and on behalf of the town, zoning administrators report.
That's me.
Yes.
So we're still at 25 permits year to date. We received one additional permit this week from 2585 Vermont 153 in West Pawlet for an overhang on a building and upgraded electrical. And then I received a number of inquiries. One was for a sign permit from the Green Mountain Baptist Church, which is at 2946 Vermont 153 in the village of West Pawlet. Evidently they had a sign there at one time, took it down, and I guess they have a banner on their porch or something now, and they want to go back and put up an official sign. So I gave her the guidelines as to how big the sign could be, and they'll look and see what they can get done before they apply. And there was an inquiry for a driveway extension at 613 Beaver Brook Road, an inquiry at 267 Hickory Hollow to erect a historic fire tower just for their own scenic lookout. There was a request for a letter of compliance for 2632 Vermont Route 30, which was the estate of Kibling, up at the pullout.
Is that the gravel pit?
That's Ronnie's.
Yeah. And then I had a follow-up at 541 Briar Hill, just to advise that the submission they've given to the town regarding their ag buildings didn't meet the requirements set by the state. I also want a clarification on that piece of property that Slate Ridge Farm is not a nonprofit, as I incorrectly stated at the Pawlet Planning Commission meeting. And then last week I spent an afternoon with the Dorset zoning administrator, who gave me a lot of great advice, but one of the most important things about that visit was to find out how they store their zoning data electronically. And they use the NEMRIC system, which we use with different, I think Julie uses it, she uses it. So there is a module that we can add to the existing town base that adds zoning and planning. It's, I think, $1,800 a year. I mean, sorry, $1,800 for the one-time charge to bring up that module. And then the maintenance is the same as what we pay already. And then we also, I sat with Jessica and, is it Harley? To talk about the digitizing of the records. And what I learned from the people in Dorset was that it's not as hard as we think it's going to be. That initially, if we can bring stuff onto NEMRIC, and then we would be able to just go in and kind of keep a file. We don't need to necessarily scan every document, but what they do is they, for every piece of property, they identify everything by the property ID, and then they go in and they just say, these are the documents we have on that piece of property. They still store everything. They still have backup and they're safe. But we could do the same type of thing rather than scanning each document. The other thing the NEMRIC system will allow us to do is to have a backup for that office, because right now, if something should happen,
There's no backup.
there's no backup. So it would be stored on the cloud. He also suggested that we also get a hard drive and just back up the thing, like, you know, once a week onto the hard drive, and then I would take the hard drive home, or we keep it someplace safe within the building so it doesn't get damaged.
So Julie, is that money available to upgrade the NEMRIC system?
We had accounted for that in zoning expenses when we set the budget last week.
Okay, so it wouldn't be available till July.
Right.
Can we get?
I mean, there may be some money left over from this year. It's just that we had used, we had sort of designated some of the zoning expenses for the pedestrian scoping study.
Yeah.
But there may be room within one of our office expense categories. I can look.
Okay.
Can we, does it qualify under the ARPA funding?
Digitization does, and that would loosely count, so we could technically use.
Oh, that's a good question. You can maybe work with Jessica a little bit on that and see if that would be a great way to add that feature for us.
Yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't count. I mean,
Well, the
it's
ARPA
for-
funding
it's for
it's for anything that we would,
Yeah.
they've really loosened the requirements, so it's anything that we would have ordinarily spent money
So
on.
it may very well cover that then. That would be great.
Jessica, could you double check that?
So,
Jessica, you certainly.
And then the final thing I have is that I attended the zoning 101 meeting on November 30th, put on by the Vermont League of Cities and Towns. Yep.
well, great. I'm very happy with that report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay. Planning Commission? No meeting now.
Not at this meeting.
Right, okay, thank you. Road foreman, what do we got going on in the roads?
I guess one thing I want to bring up, as far as the roads go, I mean, they've been blowing the ditches out with the blower and just gearing up for the snow. But on 153, we've got to decide, we got that grant of 100,000 to fill that hole in.
Yeah.
Or to, I mean, that would start it anyways. And I think that now that we've got that shimmed over and that pit is pumped out, I think we should spend the 300 and get a contractor in here and at least get the 100,000 in time and materials. And there is a contractor willing to do it, time and materials, or bid, or price. So I think that we should jump on that before the hole fills up with water and we have to pump it.
Right.
Or it settles more and destroys the shim that we just put on there.
Right.
So,
Do they have any idea how far it is, from water level to the bottom of that pit at that location or not?
well, you know, the original price, we had to get it filled right up level full, and that brought up in benches was 300,000. Now they had, I mean, we had gotten a price on where the 100,000 would bring it up to. Well, the scary part about that is there's tunnels under there, so really the right way to do it is time and materials,
Right.
unless it was pumped all the way out and you could measure how deep the tunnels were.
But nobody's actually measured to see how far the water.
Yeah, that has been measured, yes, but not under the water.
Not through into the tunnels and how far it's gonna push back into those tunnels.
Right, I mean, you could
Yeah.
push for a week into that tunnel.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty
right?
big, yeah.
And nobody knows that because they haven't been pumped out, we just
Right.
don't know the
I-
volume.
I can remember seeing some pictures. My mother was down there as a little kid, and all those 4 tunnels pointed back toward our house. It was quite impressive.
And maybe what I could do, if I could get those pictures, I could share those with the contractors, just to
awesome.
give them an idea of what potential.
I'm going to send something to you. Rob Firely gave me the plans from when they did that, and there's some drawings through how the state has them in the Bentley system, and I'm not so very good at digging them out, but I bet your brother could find them.
Yeah,
If
I
he,
bet
you know,
could,
he had the
yeah.
file number and stuff, and that's from the original project in the 70s. So there's quite a few of elevation drawings and stuff like that, but when I could bring them up in the computer, I couldn't blow them up very big. So I'm not, you know, I never got with the IT guy to see if he could make them bigger. But I will dig into my records and send it to you, and then maybe you can send it to Josh and see if he can make heads or tails out of it. More than likely, you know, he's probably quite familiar with that system and stuff.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I think that we better jump on it and get it done, right, the sooner the
Right.
better. I mean, that hole is just filling up every day with water, and we don't wanna pump it
No.
if we can help it. So I think, and time and materials
Right.
on that first $100,000 grant is the way to go. After that is spent, then we'll be up out of the water and the base will be held.
Right.
And that's what's settling is
Yeah.
the base, and that really needs
It's
to
kind
be,
of kicking out.
yeah, way down in the bottom. But I think we do need to get that.
Right,
done.
Is there anything about putting that out for bid at all in that request, or can we just choose because of the situation, can we just choose a company that we feel is?
I was anything outlined about it. I'll have to look back into it, but I'm pretty certain that we just have to provide proof of how we spent the money. So obviously we just need to have a thorough paper trail. But there's not many requirements about how we go about spending it. But I'll double check and make sure.
And I can reach out to some other contractors as well.
Just kind of get a feeling, but I mean, that's not a job that a local contractor is going to do, because they don't have the heavy equipment. They don't have the excavators that are big enough, and they don't have the haul trucks. And
yeah, that job, I think in order to do that job efficiently, you're going to need a large, probably, 120,000 pound excavator with
Right.
a couple of articulated trucks and a big dozer.
right, because if you get little stuff, you're just going to spend a lot of money and not get much done.
And it also needs to be brought up in lifts.
Right.
Especially in the base where it's settling,
Mm-hmm.
so. Yeah, we want to act on that quickly.
Yeah. If you want to ask around and see if anybody's available, but I agree with you totally that it needs to
And
happen.
we've got the money, we've got the
If the
100,000.
money's available and you know a well-suited contractor, I think it makes sense to just go forward
And get up out of the water at least and get the
Right.
base held. And we just spent a lot of money shimming that up on top. It'd
Right.
be nice if it didn't.
yeah, we don't want that to squirt out again.
Right.
So, yeah, if you could keep pushing on that, that would, if you get some answers and somebody wants to start sooner than later, you could get with the rest of us.
Sounds good. Other than that, there's really nothing to report. We did do another interview, or had another interview,
Last week.
yeah, Tuesday night. But other than that, things are pretty quiet.
Oh, that's good. Good. And the
Oh,
truck,
One more thing, uniforms.
uniforms,
So we
yeah.
did decide on uniforms,
Okay,
with the reflective stripes
Yeah.
on them,
okay, so we're all set on that.
yeah. And the
And-
uniforms have been returned, so that's all taken care of.
Okay. And a truck, that's still on the, we still gotta look for a truck.
Mhm.
Are they starting to become easier to get, or now that they've been able to double their price?
No, not really.
Not really? That's great.
Not at the moment. I mean, it's gonna
Right.
take a while to catch back up at this point. Because everybody has needed to replace their trucks, they
Right.
haven't been able to.
Right. Fortunately, we were just turning it over as good practice. We're not really in a situation where any of them are totally garbage.
Mhm.
Even the Green International is a okay standby truck still.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know we just had a little bit of work done to it, but other than that, I see it run quite a lot this summer for
Mhm.
trucking material and stuff, which is excellent. So, good. Any questions? Assessors? Anything from the assessors?
I don't think so.
Town clerk's memo?
Deb, did you want to?
Yeah, I'm here. Just need a minute. I really don't have anything. How do I turn my camera on? Oh well. I don't really have anything other than I did receive a couple of calls this week with regard to a drainage issue on Warren Switch Road. I think it was determined that Rich was already aware of it and had worked with various people there. The highway department is already aware of it. So the only thing that I have that if it's decided to be that it was necessary, I have some photographs that were given. There we go. And that's really it. You know, the people that were concerned, there was something about a drainage on one of the ditches that seemed to plug up and back up with some water into the road. So I just said I would bring it to the board and offer up the pictures if necessary. And I think that's really all I have. If anybody has any questions for me.
I guess we're all good. Thank you very much, Deb. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Town Treasurer's memo.
2 warrants this week, 23032 and 23033. The payroll is $7,225.18. Accounts payable $38,204.16. Breaks down as general fund monies $30,526.46. Highway 11,306.88, and wastewater 35.96. The bank. I put the bank is sending us docs, but they did send us. They were very late.
I just happened to look. It's 6:43.
Yeah, it was quite late.
Yeah, DocuSign.
So I DocuSigned my version, and
Okay.
if you could DocuSign yours, I
Yeah.
think that's all they're requiring is you and I.
Okay.
So I printed the stack there with the black paper clip is, nope, that one
Yeah.
is a copy of the documents that, so I've already signed, and then if you can sign, then they'll be ready to give us an account number and we can receive those funds.
Okay.
And then I think we have maybe some time to decide how we want our, I mean, they're all gonna be ours, but the funds that are already ours, you know, how much of those we want to go where. I think we can sort of slow down on that one a little. It was just really timely that we got the brokerage account set up.
Right.
So this gets us there.
Okay, perfect.
Tax sale tomorrow. Kevin O'Toole let me know there's only 3 properties that are still eligible for the tax sale and what the bids on those need to be. And then other than approving the 2 warrants, we need to approve the general fund budget number of $459,913 and the highway budget of $659,522. And that's it for me.
Okay, so we can do the payroll and the accounts payable together, right? And then the other ones, those other 2 probably separate? Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve payroll warrant 23032 and accounts payable warrant 23033.
I'll second that.
All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
I don't know why that keeps happening, but it's
That's pretty
funny.
cool.
Jessica will have
Jessica?
a hard time topping that.
Yes.
Yes. Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Approved.
It's all that steel that he has in him now.
Now we need to have a motion for the general fund.
I'll make a motion that we approve the general fund budget of $459,913.
And I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? John?
He gives a thumbs up.
Thumbs up,
Yeah.
okay. Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Carried. And now the highway budget.
I'll make a motion that we approve the highway budget of $659,522.
And I will second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? John? Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Okay, carried. Thank you, Julie. Let's sign these papers right now and, yeah, pass the warrants around. Are the warrants legal with just 3 of us? Right, that's a quorum.
It's a quorum.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay. Okay, so this is just strictly the paper copy?
Yeah. Just if anyone else wanted
I'll
to.
sign it anyways,
Okay.
just because, but I'll get that DocuSign tomorrow. I'll be at work tomorrow, so I can,
Okay, and if have a couple minutes, I need your ID. And
Okay.
then there's another one to sign, paper copy there, so we can get
Mhm.
those to them.
Signed your house away.
Yes, sir. There we go. That one there, too. Your pen?
Yes. Thanks, Mike.
I'll do that then,
This is the budget. So this is a letter from Budget. We confirm that Julie's doing a good job, right?
Yeah, I got my audit proposals, he's resending them because there was a couple of errors, but this is just like authorizing them to finalize everything when they're ready.
Is everything good with the donation to the town, like all that's in order?
That's what, Mike is
This
back, he's
Berkshire
signing it
paper.
tonight.
Okay,
To set the
Then
account.
it'll- yes,
that's great.
yeah. They're getting a little, I get it, I was getting a little aggressive. It's good.
I can't do it.
Sometimes you have to do good, That's right. This is my aggressive hat.
Nothing says aggressive like a Santa hat.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh boy. Good.
This is why we're
Yeah.
wait, I reviewed.
That should,
You sent me
it should be
something?
coming, the quarry thing, I looked up and it found pretty quick. So it should have the attachments.
Huh.
Yeah, this is how they come in, this Bentley system is, but you can see the pictures right there, just like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
oh, old shit.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like my father said that John Poger, who grew up right there, like where Chuckadet lives, his mother and father lived in Chuckadet's house. John Poger was like old as my mother, or not quite as old, around my mother's age. He was an engineer for the state, and he did a lot of that work there just before he retired.
Mhm.
Pretty interesting. But maybe we can get a little bit more background. They'll help those guys from that.
And if it's time and materials at this point.
Right. But at least they might have a little bit better idea what they're getting into. Yeah, time and materials is gonna be the way to go. Get a big machine and 2 trucks and just do what you
Hammer it
can do.
out. Mhm.
Frank?
Julie, should the audit process be a little cleaner and straightforward without all the accounts? Same.
I think I'll make the fewer small mistakes, but I don't think it would really impede his ability unless it's something that I really struggle to figure out. And then I talk to him, and so that may a little bit, but not a lot.
Okay, so we're doing good.
It's all set for you.
Emergency Management Director is not, is this week?
Yep, it's the first meeting
Oh,
of
right, it's the
December.
I'm confused. All I'm thinking about is Christmas.
This is not our first meeting of December, is it?
It's not our first meeting in December,
that's right.
contrary to popular
But it's the
belief.
first standard meeting,
Fun.
regularly scheduled.
Okay,
That's not the last one.
not the first, not the last. Is it the last?
No, there's 27.
Okay, anyway, so Bob Morlino met with Brooke DeBonis on school safety, attended a threat and hazard identification and risk assessment meeting, and attended the FBI working group meeting on biological threats in Burlington. That's what happened in November. And health officer. Jennifer, would you like me to give yours, or do you want to do that?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So since Jennifer's last report, she attended a training for failed wastewater systems, took a complaint about an active fire in a burn barrel, and visited the site and advised the owners that in Vermont it is illegal to burn anything outside except for wood, such as a campfire. Took a report of a dog bite. However, this was not reportable to the state as the victim's skin was not broken. And in terms of COVID-19 and masking, as of today, the state COVID-19 surveillance dashboard shows that our community has a level of low for COVID, and masking room still remains a personal choice. And I think, did I get everything? I think that was everything. There were a couple follow-ups, but I think that summed everything up. So, upon follow-up from the state, the wastewater system that was in question was determined to be sound as of a couple years ago.
Any questions? Guess we're good. Facilities report,
Wastewater?
or just facilities in general? Oh, wastewater, yeah. Did Jill send
I haven't
just submissions? I think is all I saw.
gotten anything.
Everything, all the tests seem like they're coming back pretty good.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, the only one the only number I know is the E. coli number, so
I haven't
that one's
gotten
coming
anything
back
from
way,
Jill.
way low, like around, like less than 1 quite often. So that's really good.
Okay, so nothing there. So facilities.
And the facilities, apparently Armstrong hasn't got here yet, huh?
Doesn't seem to
Correct.
Oh,
I asked
there
him,
he is.
yeah, it's on this. We were just finishing up, and my old man was gonna do that job, and he got sick, and hopefully I'll get started next week. So that was last week, so. I think he's taking advantage of good weather, honestly, but he promises he'll be here. If it's cold, he's pounding nails in the cold, too bad, right?
If we have somebody interested in coming here and working, we'd be patient with them.
What's that?
If we have somebody that's interested in
Yeah.
actually gonna come here and work,
Yeah.
we should be patient with them.
Yeah. He's good setting his old man. Old Dave, I can't get over, he's gotta be 75, ain't he?
Well, he looks it.
No, really. You see him climbing
Yeah,
up,
yeah,
scampering up on the
Yeah,
roof?
he's
and-
got, yeah,
He's
He's fried.
Yeah,
Came and looked at the
yeah. He was up on our roofs and working and just,
Santa's gotta be how old, and he's up on roofs all the time.
yeah,
Just
Yeah.
age is just enough.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, older unfinished business? Oh, Mettawee School Board, you got, that's usually not till the middle of the month, right?
Right.
Okay. Unfinished business.
How is your time going? How are your 2 days of
Oh, yeah.
auditorium?
Are you done?
I think 2 days, I think 8-hour days and 10, but I've only been able to do little pieces of a couple hours here and there because like Julie had to split the other day early and Deb wasn't here, and so I pieced together probably 5 or 6 hours totally maybe.
So,
Because of the schedule here.
The schedule's pretty broad here, Frank. It sounds like your schedule
It
isn't.
wasn't until after I had to talk with Deb when she
Right.
came and make arrangement with Deb,
Right.
which was a week, because she was off when we talked about it last night.
So when the town hall is open, you can go up in there and do your stuff.
That's right.
It's only gonna take 2 days.
Well.
Right, so make sure that your time works with their
When
time.
we were talking, I was thinking days that I would be able to go up there and camp out like for 8-10 hours a day.
Well, that
But
doesn't
that's
work.
not possible
Right,
because there's.
because we have to have it locked.
More days to equate to that amount of time.
All right, let's
So-
just not drag it out.
I've just heard from the clerk that after Tuesday of next week, right?
Right.
The town hall is gonna be wrapped up for holiday. So
Okay.
I think the goal should be to be done by Tuesday.
Right.
It'll be very long, like, or at least cleaned up by Tuesday.
Yeah, I had a little snafu on it last night, and a guy printed some stuff, and it spilled out, and it got turned into like cards on the floor, so I put them together, so I took it about 1,000 pieces of paper. Had to go through them one by one today to get them all in order. But,
Right,
so
that's
that
good.
that was unanticipated.
Uh-huh. And we were very generous to allow you the building, so
Right.
next
Gotcha.
Tuesday. Thank you.
I'm going full speed ahead.
Thank you.
I'm going full speed ahead, trying to, it's life sometimes.
Any new business?
So the select board's report or all of the reports for the annual report are due January 9th. So put on your thinking caps for the highlight reel of all that the select board accomplished in the last year. And as always, I would love for you all to send me your suggestions, but as always, I will put it together without receiving them. And
That's pretty harsh, Kristen.
But you took all the minutes, so you know everything that happened, all the high points.
You were there.
we were all there. So anyway, if you have anything that you would like to have included in the annual report, I would love to have you send
You're
me
awesome, that's all I can say.
Send
yeah.
me your suggestions. John always sends me his suggestions. But anyhow, so I'm going to be working on a draft for that. But if there's anything that you feel we did over the last year that you'd like for the people of our community to know about in the town report, send them along, because I'm going to get them to Deb timely by their due date of January 9th.
All right. Any other new business?
This is Jessica. I do have a couple, I have two things.
Okay.
I'm sorry for the background noise here. I am in the car. Don't worry, I'm not driving. The first one is that today I attended a webinar about that thing that you sent me, Mike, about the, it's called the Municipal Energy Resilience Program.
Oh, right, yeah.
And yeah, it has to do with weatherizing town buildings and also with changing the way that they are heated away from oil or propane. So this is it's actually pretty exciting because the amount of money that are going to be available is up to $500,000 per town. And they are going to prioritize towns that, there was a map that showed which towns they're going to prioritize, and the towns where energy costs more and the towns have less resources are going to be prioritized, and we are like the second from the top in priority. So it seems like Pawlet would be pretty high on the list of towns to get this funding. The timeline for this to happen is that it's going, the regional planning commissions are going to roll out sometime this spring or summer energy audit walkthroughs, which are going to be free to the town, and we can decide how many of our town buildings we want to have audited. This sort of replaces the thing I was looking into earlier that was through Efficiency Vermont. This is going to be the new way they're doing this. And once the Regional Planning Commission has helped us do this audit, we then could work with it to select what building we might want to get this, these upgrades done on, which should intensely reduce the cost of heating it. That is the concept. So, I mean, off the top of my head, I would think either the library or the town hall, thinking about the cost of the fuel oil that it has been to heat them. So anyhow, the actual grants will not be, the grant applications will not be up for probably about a year, but this process of doing energy audits can start probably in the summer of 2023. So I think that this is a great opportunity for us. Oh, also there's no matching in these grants. So that's great.
That's huge.
I'll just keep in touch with the Regional Planning Commission about this because they'll have updates going forward. So that's my one piece of new business. The other piece, I guess it's new business, although it has to do with the Otter Creek Communications Union District and the broadband build out. I've been tasked to find out information for the town of Pawlet. So I posted on Front Porch Forum and I also posted on Facebook, but I'm announcing it here so that anyone who watches this can know, and maybe if everyone helps me spread the word. I am gathering information on who in our town has no internet service or has slow internet. So if anybody has bad internet or doesn't have any at their residence, please get in touch with me. Email is easiest, and just let me know, like, if you have service now, what it is, and if you know how fast it is, that's great, but if not, that's also okay. You can just tell me that the internet is slow and you can never, you know, Zoom is always crashing or something. And I'm compiling this data so that we know that we have data from the state, but a lot of places, the grade marks that have service don't really, so we're trying to make sure that it's accurate so we know who in Pawlet needs upgraded internet. The plan is to start building out some internet within the year. So we do need to get this info from folks. So anybody can contact me if they have slow or no internet. All right, that's my report.
Thank you, Jessica. Frank?
Would it be something that ARPA funds would pay for to mail out a survey to everybody in town to send back on their internet service?
Doesn't sound like there's turnaround time for that from what she was talking about. Like she needs to know ASAP.
Right, just short term. And judging by the performance we had on the funds, the survey we did for West Pawlet, you know, you get a pretty poor turnout. So, okay, so if anybody knows, I'll just have to make them
Anywhere
we have really poor internet service over at our house, and Gary fights with it in his office really bad. You know, they're.
Yeah, what's your address? So I can just jot it down.
177 Bower Road, 242 Bower Road.
Okay. All right.
Rick's,
I'll mark those as having bad service.
Okay.
To speak to Frank's question about how we can get hold of everybody. What I'm doing is I'm marking down everybody who says that they have bad internet, and often everybody on the road has the same bad internet, right? Or for a certain stretch of the road. So I will probably then be reaching out to individual people who I know are the neighbors of those who already said they have bad internet. So yeah, I will be doing some targeted outreach. It seems like the people who have bad internet are either on the consolidated DSL,
yes,
or they are on the VTEL wireless, which is not good.
Right, we're on the consolidated, and it's garbage. It's terrible. So, thank you. Anything else for Jessica and those two? Thank you, Jessica. Or did we lose her? Wonder if she drove out of service. Is there any other new business? Public comment? Frank?
Just as a reminder for the record, too, is that the Planning Commission is canceling their meeting this month. Meeting will commence again next month. So if anybody knows it, it's just the public should be, is not going to show up at the next meeting. No one's going to be here.
Okay.
And I was thinking that if we had some project or building or something going on in town, that maybe we might consider a dedication to keep, you know, as part of, you know, in memory of, and that in the annual report there should be memorial pieces, I think, to the passing of different individuals that work for the town here this year.
Thank you. Oh, yes, awesome.
That's all. Just Merry Christmas.
You're half lit.
Turn the lights off.
No flashing at our
Oh,
meeting.
no.
Whatever you celebrate. Enjoy it.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. Nice, Julie.
Anything else?
I don't know how to put that in the minutes, but.
Adjourn.
Yep.
I'll second that.
All in favor of adjournment? John? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Thumbs up, Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Carried. Have a great Christmas, everyone.
Hey, it's
Happy-
great to
enjoy
have
your
you back,
holidays.
John.